Okay, we're going to continue with number 10. First thing we want to do is put this over 1. We get a common denominator, and our common denominator is going to be 21. So if I multiply every term in the problem by 21, now I want to simplify. The first term I'm going to divide by 3. 21 divided by 3 is a 7. So I'm going to have 7 times 1 minus 2x. And make sure you put that in parentheses. And then on my second term, I'm going to divide by 7, and I'm going to have a 3. So I'm going to have plus 3 times my original numerator, which was already there. And then 1 and 21 do not simplify, so I just say 21 times 1 is greater than 21. Now I want to distribute and simplify. 7 minus 14x plus 9x plus 21 is greater than 21. On my left, I want to add like terms right there. So I'm going to have negative 5x. Want to add these two together, I'm going to have 28. Alright, if we're trying to get x by itself, I want to subtract 28 from both sides. So I'm going to have negative 5x is greater than negative 7. Divide both sides by a negative 5. Remember, we said if you divide both sides by a negative, we're going to flip our inequality. So we're going to have x is less than 7/5. If I try to draw a quick sketch of that, less than 7/5 would be a parenthesis shade that way. Now if I write that in interval notation, the first thing I come to is an arrow to the left, and the last thing is 7/5 with the parenthesis. So that's interval notation. Number 11, I just need to divide both sides by a negative 1. It's a very simple one, but we have to recall our rule, and we only do this if we divide both sides by a negative. We don't do this every single time, but every time we divide by a negative, we will flip it. A quick sketch of this would be less than 2. It's going to be a parenthesis, arrow to the left. So as I name this, reading left to right, I have a negative infinity to a 2 with the parenthesis. Number 12, I want to find a common denominator, which is a 6. So I multiply each term by 6. Okay, divide, in the first term divide by 2, and you get 1, divide by 2, and you have 3. So you multiply the leftover. So I say 3 times 1 is 3. In the second term, I'm going to divide by 3. So divide by 3, multiply what's left. So I have 2 times 2 is 4. This 6, divide by 6, divide by 6, they cancel each other out, so we have this. Now we just solve. So 7 is greater than or equal to x. I always like to put my variable on the left, so I just like to rewrite it. Arrow points to the x. Make sure when you rewrite it, you don't change the value. A quick sketch of this would be a bracket on the 7 and less than. So interval notation is going to be negative infinity to a 7 with a bracket. Okay, number 13 looks long. We're going to take our time and do one step at a time. 4x minus 24 plus 2x minus 4 is greater than or equal to, distribute over here, 3x minus 21 plus 10x. Okay, we want to look to the left of our inequality and simplify all like terms possible. So I want to add like terms there, and I have a 6x. I want to add like terms there, and I have minus 28. On my right hand side of the inequality, I want to add like terms here and have 13x minus 21. Now I'm ready to solve. I'm going to move x the x's on one side and the numbers on the other, variables on the left and numbers on the right. And I'm going to have negative 7x minus 28. Get x by itself, so add 28 to both sides. Negative 7x is greater than or equal to 7. Once again, we're dividing both sides by a negative. We've kind of been doing that a lot. It doesn't happen every time, but it's been pretty consistent in our last few problems. So we have x is less than or equal to negative 1. If I sketched a quick graph of this, that would be a bracket, shade to the left. So that's negative infinity to a negative 1 with the bracket. And then our last problem is going to be number 14. We're going to find a common denominator, which looks like we can use 20. So if I multiply each term in the problem by 20 and then simplify, we can get rid of the fraction. So in the first term, I divide by 5, and I have a 4. So I multiply that 4 times the 2x that's there, and I'm going to get 4 times 2 is 8x. In the second term, I'm going to divide by 4, and I have 5, so I have 5 times negative 1 is a negative 5. In this term, my third term, I'm going to divide by 10, and I have a 2 left, so I say 2 times 3x is 6x. And in my last term, I'm going to divide by 5, and I have a 4, so I'm going to say 4 times negative 4 is a negative 16. Now I'm going to start solving by subtracting 6x from both sides. Now get x by itself, so I'm going to add 5. And then divide both sides by 2. And x is less than or equal to negative 11 halves. So if I do a quick sketch of that, it would be a bracket on less than. So interval notation is going to be negative infinity to negative 11 halves with a bracket.